With every new set in Magic the Gathering, we see at least a smattering of newly printed legendary creatures. For us Commander players, that means a ton of excitement for several reasons. We might be seeing a new commander that makes an old strategy even stronger, or we may see a new leader for one of our favorite tribes in the game. Of course, we may simply see an old mechanic get some new life breathed into it with a legendary creature that uses it in a unique way. No matter what we get out of the set though, one question that inevitably gets asked is which of these new legendary creatures was the best from the set. Thankfully, you don't need to worry about figuring that out, since my name is Seth Cross for Praetor Magic and this is ranking the new legendary creatures from Jumpstart. To start, let me clarify that Jumpstart is the newest set release from Wizards of the Coast as of the recording of this video, and it has a unique spin on it. The booster packs for Jumpstart are themed and designed so that you can take 2 packs, open them, and smash them together to create a quick-to-play limited deck. The concept is cool, and there is actually 26 total legendary creatures in the set, including mostly reprinted characters we've seen before. For the purposes of this video, however, we're only focusing on the 10 brand new legendary creatures and ranking them by considering their strength as commanders, not just in the 99 of other decks. Number 10, Brutak the Grandiloquent. This may surprise some of you, especially if you know that one of my favorite win cons is milling an entire table out, while sometimes milling myself along with it. While Brutak is an awesome card for showing that the term mill is finally becoming an official keyword, the truth is that he doesn't offer as much power as some of the other cards in this video. Milling people for twice as much is great, but some of the best milling decks and cards require black in the deck, and we just got done saying that we're rating the cards based on their power from the command zone. I'm sure Brutak will find his merry way into many a Dimir deck, but leading his own deck doesn't seem to be where he truly shines. Number 9, Ormos, Archive Keeper. Well, that's awkward. The 2 mono blue commanders are the lowest on the totem pole, and I can only imagine that some viewers are already typing in the comment section about personal bias. But hear me out for this one. Ormos does have a unique ability replacing the normal condition that drawing our final card would normally end the game for us, with Ormos becoming a massive flying threat. He even has an activated ability that can potentially beef him up fast if we have the mana to sink into it, and big flying commanders can end games with commander damage. So why is he only number 9? The reality is that outside of Laboratory Maniac and Jace Wielder of Mysteries, Ormos decks are going to need to end the game with him on the field and attacking. As many Boros, red, or white players may have experienced already, some metas are noticeably light in the command phase already. And if you are winning the game with a lab man effect, the deck was probably already designed with some kind of combo to win anyway. Ormos didn't really do anything to boost your strategy, except have an interesting way to represent your strategy from the command zone. Number 8, Cethron, Horland General. I'm very partial to the Minotaur tribe in Magic, Dungeons & Dragons, and in general. Cethron definitely does a better job of being the leader of the Minotaurs than Nith the Worthy could ever hope to do, but that feels like a low bar to jump in the first place. Still, getting an extra body whenever Cethron or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield is sweet, even similar to the powerhouse that is Edgar Markov for the Vampire tribe. Cethron even has a slight leg up on Edgar, since his way to boost his tribe is a repeatable mana sink ability that also grants haste and some evasion to our field in the form of Menace. One could even argue that Cethron is more focused than Edgar, only having 2 colors, while the other side of that argument is that Edgar has diversity in his options with a 3rd color. Let us also remember that the token bodies Cethron is putting down are nearly 3 times bigger than Edgar's brood. Of course, Edgar overall wins the power battle since his ability works from the command zone, while Cethron needs to be present. But there's no denying that Cethron and his kin are ready to charge in a battle. Number 7, Nith of the Dire Hunt. These next few spots were hard to select because each of these new commanders are awesome. While Nith does have the words "draw a card" printed on her, the triggered ability feels like a downgraded version of Xenagos, God of Revels. Not only do we have to pay for the ability, Nith only boosts the creature's power, and doesn't give it any other abilities like Xenagos giving out haste. Nith does ensure some card advantage by forcing an opponent to block the pumped up creature, but even that can be flimsy in Commander. If Wizards really wanted to make Nith a bit stronger, I think changing the triggered ability so that the creature had to be blocked by all creatures the defending player had, or even just a certain number like 3, would have been an improvement. At least green and even red has some ways to grant the creatures trample, and I have to admit, there's nothing more fun than slapping down something like a Malignus and giving it haste to see the entire rest of the table gulp with worried eyes. Number 6. Zerzoth Chaos Rider. First, I want to comment that Zerzoth is the first and only Commander Legal Devil Commander, and that alone makes him awesome. I'm typically not a fan of chaotic effects, but Zerzoth is just the right amount of randomness in the right ways for me to like him. He also slots right into a strategy that mono red does very well, with tokens entering the battlefield to do what starts as small amounts of damage but then suddenly ends an entire game. Perforos, God of the Forge, Impact Tremors, tossing in a Norn the Wary since Zerzoth wants us to attack, the deck practically builds itself. We can even benefit from other mono red staples that token decks tend to enjoy. Goblin Bombardment allows us to sacrifice our devils, and then we get to do extra damage from both the Impact Tremors and the devil dying. While I'm not sure that Devil Tribal is the way to go with Zerzoth, there is definitely a strategy here, and it's definitely something very hellishly powerful. Number 5. Iniaz, the Gale Force. This one was difficult to place. At first I was going to place it much lower on the list because the triggered ability is so odd I don't see the value in it. The reality is, however, that the pump ability is a mana sink, and flying is often just as good as unblockable in some games. The Azores color combination also does have flying swarms, so Iniaz is definitely going to see quite a few builds that are very powerful. Reading the triggered ability more carefully, getting to pick what each person is taking from the person on the right is also much better than I originally thought. You see, when I read the card at first, I thought that they picked what was chosen from the other players. But getting to pick ourselves means that we can basically set the battlefield up the exact way that we want it, although we are limited by only picking to the right. Number 4. Muxus, Goblin Grandee. There's a somewhat raised power level when we look at legendary goblins. Holding that bar up are commanders like Krenko Mob Boss, Kiki Mirror Breaker, Grumgully the Generous, Grenzo Dungeon Warden, Pashalik Mons, Wart the Raid Mother, Zada Hedron Grinder, and there's even more. Originally, Muxus was near the bottom of this list because I misread his ability as well, as only able to get goblins with a total converted mana cost of 5, not individually costing 5 or less. Having read the card correctly, and thus explaining the card, I investigated it, and there's only 8 goblins in all of Magic with a converted mana cost over 5 to begin with. The only ones I could imagine anybody caring about would be Muxus himself and Wart the Raid Mother, and since we're talking about Muxus as the commander, who is mono red, we don't even need to worry about those. That basically means any goblin you would want to put in the 99 of a Muxus deck is grabbable, and that means we might combo off anytime Muxus hits the field. And lest we forget, there's even a way to make Muxus a huge threat, so just find a way to give him evasion and boom, we're one-shotting opponents off the table. Number 3. Emile the Blessed. Let me start by being brutally honest. I'm not going to try to sell you on Unicorn Tribal. It's not even impossible, considering that there are 40 cards that either are unicorns themselves, are changelings, or create unicorns or changeling tokens. Still, it does seem pretty flimsy, and I'm not quite sure how much it would actually work in a real game. However, I will 100% try to sell you on how powerful decks focused on giving their field +1/+1 counters are, especially in green and white. We have access to Hardened Scales, Doubling Season, Cather's Crusade, all kinds of effects that grant keywords if creatures have counters on them, and of course, buttloads of ramp, so we always have a mana to spare for Emile's triggered ability. Having played everything from Chorus of the Conclave to my recent beloved deck, Tyam Luminous Enigma, I have no doubt that Emile can really put the hooves to any table. Number 2. Tiny Bones, Trinket Thief. I can already feel all of the angry typing, since having Tiny Bones in second place means that they aren't the top card, and I've seen how much people love this adorable little skeleton. Don't get me wrong, the art is great, and the abilities are powerful, but my experiences have always shown me that discard-based decks tend to elicit a great deal of hate from the rest of the table. Now, when you notice that Tiny Bones really depends on tipping the power skills of games by focusing specifically on opponents discarding cards or opponents having no cards in hands for the activated ability while having card advantage and a game-ending activated ability, I can't imagine that Tiny Bones is created in any way that isn't easy to pick as the first target for any meta. Simply put, playing the game without any cards in your hands is typically not the most fun. You draw, and if it's a land, you put it down and you pass. Not many people like to draw land go, so I can only imagine that most people won't appreciate what a Tiny Bones deck is trying to do. Number 1. Kels, Fight Fixer. Oh look, I can hear the viewer saying, Seth picked a Dimir card to be the best card. Of course he picked a Dimir card. Okay, you're not wrong. But hear me out though. Kels is a well-costed card given her stats, and she comes with a variation of evasion. Then she comes with a way to draw cards that Black is already amazing at enabling in sacrificing creatures most of the time for free. Black even has a tribe they're fantastic at making tokens of with zombies, and even Blue can have the odd flying tokens with things like Tauron Sky Summoner or Murmuring Mystic, or even the new and silly Shark Typhoon. Then, even if someone does try to wrath the board or even target Kels with removal, she has the capability of keeping herself alive with that indestructible ability. Card advantage, good stats for cost, sacrificing shenanigans encouraged and easily enabled by the colors, and self-protection all wrapped up in one card? Yeah, there's no contest that I think Kels is the strongest commander from Jumpstart, and let's be real, there was no way a character with the title Fight Fixer wasn't going to come out on top. And that's it for all of the legendary creatures from the recent Jumpstart set. What did you think about the order of our list? Did we put your favorite new commander too low? Too high? Feel free to let us know in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more if you aren't already. If you are subscribed, remember to ring the bell so that you can get notifications whenever we upload a new video. You can also find us all across social media, and we'll provide links to all our different handles in the video description down below. If you're looking for an online haven to talk about your favorite trading card game, we'd be more than happy to have you join us on the Praetor Magic Discord server, and an invite link will be provided in the video description as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Seth Cross for Praetor Magic, and this was our ranking the new legendary creatures from Jumpstart.